Want to close more sales like yesterday? I'm Amy Walker and I help business owners be able to grow their business while maintaining balance in their lives. And today we are talking about 4 weird tips for closing sales that actually work and the art of closing the deal effectively. For all the tips that you need to grow your business and create balance in your life, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you can get notifications when we produce new content every Tuesday. My friends, I know exactly what you want. You want more sales. You want to know how to close the deal more effectively. You want to know some tips and strategies and techniques to be better in closing. If you watch until the end, you'll have 4 overlooked, kind of weird, but highly effective strategies that you can use to help you close more deals. I have taught these strategies to literally thousands of entrepreneurs and small business owners, and they work. You're going to leave this video feeling more confident in closing the deal. So before we jump into our content, I want to hear from you. What is your biggest hang up when it comes to closing sales? I don't think any of us come out of the womb as natural born salespeople. So what is getting you hung up? And that might even become content for future videos. Leave us a comment. So let's jump into my 4 kind of weird but highly effective strategies to help you close better. Number 1 is what I call the best friend rule. It is a funny thing to watch people sell. When they're in that space of I'm serving, I'm educating, I'm teaching, they're charismatic, they're engaging, they talk to you like you're a normal human being, and then all of a sudden when it gets time to close the deal, you watch as that transitions and they become very stiff, and they become very professional, and they become very perfunced in the way that they speak, and all of a sudden you watch as they close up and they become like this whole other robotic human being. If you'll follow the best friend principle, here's what it is, and it's easy to remember, you guys. Just talk to everybody like you would talk to your best friend. People are craving relationships, and that is what sells them. They no longer need you for your information. Do you realize that? They can learn everything about your product or your service online. Everything. They could come to YouTube and they could watch videos. They're not coming to you because they need your information. They're coming to you because they want a person to go through this purchasing process with them. They are coming to you because they want relationship, they want connection. So if you will practice talking to every prospect like you would talk to your best friend and really focus on building rapport and relationships, you'll find that when it comes time to ask for the money, it is so much easier to do because you don't have to shift from one thing into the next. You just get to stay that way the entire time. You get to be congruent. You get to have great relationships. And it's easier for them to say yes to you because they already know, like, and trust you. Tip number 2, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth because we're supposed to listen more than we talk. I think we all heard that from our parents at one point, right? Not just me. So what we're going to do here is what I call the 3/4 rule. You should, in a sales conversation, I know this is going to sound crazy, spend 3/4 of your time asking questions and listening. 1/4 of your time at most is presenting your product, your service, or your offer. The reason people buy from you is because they have a need that you fulfill. Too many people jump in and they start sharing benefits and features before they've even identified the need and the end destination where your client wants to get to. And that is an uncomfortable way to sell because you feel like you're pushing something on someone that they might not need or want. So if you want to be more confident and make the sales experience more comfortable for everybody, ask great questions. If I'm on an hour-long sales call with somebody, I'm not even joking, 45 minutes of it is spent on uncovering what their challenges are in their business, helping them come up with an action plan, figuring out what those barriers are, making sure they're clear on where they want to go. That's 45 minutes. And then when we get to the end and they're feeling like, wow, this was amazing, I'll say, well, can I share with you how you could work with me on some of these challenges? And then we transition in. I show them what my products and services look like. I already know their needs. They know I know their needs. I'm very clear on what needs to happen in order for them to hit their goals. They know that I'm clear on that. All of that's taken care of. And so it just simply becomes, here's the details. Is this a fit for you? And do you want to move forward? And it makes the sales process so easy. So if you are talking a lot in your sales conversations, Doing it wrong. It's all about the questions, it's all about the conversation, it's all about the person that you're selling to. They don't really need to know that much about your product or service. They need to know more that you understand where they're at and where they want to go, and that you have a plan to take them there. So listen more, speak a little bit less. If you master that art, you will literally have clients talking themselves into buying from you, and your job becomes very easy. Tip number 3 is what I call the push, pull, and the take. So in sales, it's a little bit of a dance. We've got to learn the art of knowing when to push, when to pull back, and when to take the option off of the table. So pushing, let's talk about pushing. Nobody wants to be a pushy salesperson, but if you don't push at all, do people close? Not very often. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're not pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing to the point where the person feels like they've been pushed over. But there are certain spots within the sales script when you do want to give a little push. So examples, when I'm working with a small business owner and I am helping them figure out where they're at and where they want to go, I am pushy when I get them to commit to their goals. I always get them to commit to their goals before I even bring up the topic of my programs and services. Because if they're not committed to their goals, first of all, I've done them a disservice. It's a waste of both of our time. Secondly, I'm not going to close them on anything. They're not even committed to what they want to do. And so I push in that section. There are other times in this section, in the scripting, where I pull back and I give them some space. For example, if I've just asked a really poignant question, I'm gonna energetically pull back and I'm gonna give them some space to let that percolate, let them figure out how they feel about it. If I'm dropping information after information after information and deep probing question after deep probing question after deep probing question, guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna feel pushed over, and I need to pull back and I need to give them some space to let it settle, let them see how it feels, let them see if this is landing well for them, get their responses. You have to give people space in order to create movement. So it's a mixture of pushing and pulling. Now, the third type, the takeaway, there are some tricky people to sell to. There legitimately are. They're hard to close. And you're going through and you're pushing, you're pulling, you're pushing, you're pulling. You're like, I'm dancing here. And no one's dancing with me. They're like not moving at all. When you can't get someone to move at all, you can't get them to acknowledge what their challenges are. You can't get them to acknowledge that they have a need. You can't get them to find a goal, or you have those people who they're like, every time you find something like, oh yeah, I just figured that out last week, so I'm good. They just won't move with you at all in that sales conversation. Then I do what I call the take. So I take the option off of the table and I'll say things like, I find that I can help business owners the most when they either have something that they really want that they haven't achieved yet, or they have a problem that they're trying to solve. I'm not really hearing either of those from you, so I'm not really sure where to go from here. Is it right for us to be having this conversation? And I just take the option off the table, hey, you're not giving me anything to work with. Let me take the option off the table. Maybe we'll just jump off this phone call right now. And then one of two things will happen. The people who don't really want to be talking to you and they're not really interested in jiving and you're not going to close them anyway, they'll be relieved and they'll be like, yeah, I don't really have any issues that I need to work on. I'm good. Great. Let's save myself 20 minutes of being on the phone with you, because usually you hit that point within the first 5 to 10 minutes. Or they will say things like, well, no. I do have blah, 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 blah that I'm wanting to work on. And all of a sudden they open up and they're willing to communicate with you. That is a beautiful thing, because what was happening is they were trying to protect themselves and they were being guarded with you. And so it takes the guard down when they understand that if they're not going to dance with you, I'm not going to dance by myself. I'll go find somebody else to talk to who wants to actually dance with me. By the way, I'm a super goofy dancer in real life. I love, busting out some dance moves, trying to embarrass my kids when we're in public places. It's amazing. So I don't know why everyone doesn't want to dance with me, but the reality is some people don't. So what we're going to do is we're just going to let them opt in or opt out as we take that option off the table. Tip number 4 comes into play when you are selling to groups of people. So I heard this once, don't actually know if it's true. It's a great science experiment. Try it at home, friends. But I heard once that popcorn, if you put popcorn on heat and you heat it up and you remove it before the first kernel pops, that you can never reheat and pop that popcorn again. Again, science experiment for another day. I don't know if that's true, but it applies incredibly well in sales. So in sales, when you're selling to a group, what happens is you have this moment where you need somebody to pop and somebody to say, yes, I want it, I'm in, sign me up, take the check. If that doesn't happen in the group setting, what happens is all of those people, they're waiting for somebody, like they need someone to go first. It's kind of like if you've ever been at a family reunion or a church dinner and all of a sudden they're like, okay, it's time to eat, and everyone just stands there, somebody's got to go first, and the minute somebody goes, everybody else lines up, really relieved that somebody actually went first because they wanted to say yes. They wanted to go get in line. They wanted the cake or the bread or the salad. I don't know. But they wanted it. And so they were just waiting for that right moment. So what happens in your sales conversations when you're selling to a group is they're waiting for the person to pop and they're waiting for that person to go first. And once they do, everybody lines up. If you offer and nobody moves and you go, okay, great, it was so nice to have all of you. Thank you for coming. If there's anything I can help you with, I'm a great resource, happy to be here for you. So yay. And you like end the class or end the speaking gig or end the workshop or end the presentation, those people are not likely to close because what they felt was that there was a desire that they had, but nobody else had it. And so that makes them doubt and second guess their desire to purchase from you, and they're very challenging to close later. You need to get the first popcorn kernel to go pop, and then all of a sudden everybody else is like pop, 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 pop. I have literally watched presentations with high-end, well-known trainers and speakers where they're presenting to a room full of people. They did their offer, they directed them to the back of the room, nobody moved. So they kept going. And then they invited again and nobody moved. And they did it, kept answering questions, kept going again. And that third time, this trainer was like, what is wrong with you people? You're telling me you want what I have to offer. I'm offering it to you. It's in the back of the room. Stand up now and go. And 30 people lined up and went and signed up for like an $11,000 program. Now, it might not have been 30, it might not have been 11,000, but it was in that range. They went from walking out of that room with no deals to walking out of that room with over $100,000 in deals because they held firm and they waited until that first person went pop. Now, the reason why most people struggle with this is because number one, they spend way too long talking about their stuff and they don't give themselves enough time to properly close in a group. The other thing is it's kind of uncomfortable. Like you're sitting there going, okay, nobody popped, nobody moved, but I'm still going, I'm still answering questions. And they're sitting there going, I really kind of want to do this, but nobody's popping, nobody's moving. Well, what are we going to do now? And so there's a little bit of discomfort in the room, and you have to be willing to just let that sit for a couple minutes. People don't, write this down, you guys, this is good, this is quotable. People don't move when they feel comfortable. Think about it, when you're all snuggly and cozy in your big blankie and like your best pair of leggings, do you want to get up and go move? No, you want to stay where you are. People move when they're a little bit uncomfortable. And so you're not making them uncomfortable. They are uncomfortable because they want to move. And that's that signal like, hey, I got to do this. It's coming internally, it's not coming externally. So don't try to soothe it away and make everybody comfortable with not purchasing. Let them continue to feel that stirring until they create some movement. So these are my 4 weird sales tips that I'm telling you, they just work amazingly well. So I think it's time for an action challenge. I'm going to challenge you to go out and try one of these 4 tips today and then share with me how it went. I would love to hear your feedback. If you haven't yet, make sure that you join my private community for like-minded business owners who are trying to gain the skills of growing their business at the same time trying to balance their personal lives and just need a little bit of support, education, and information along the way. It's a great place to come ask questions. If you liked this video and it was helpful for you, make sure that you leave me a comment and please share it with the other business owners in your life. I would love to be able to help support more entrepreneurs as they grow their dreams. And if you want more tips on how to build more confidence in sales, I've got a free ebook on building your sales confidence. So grab it, the link is in the comments, and I would love for you to be able to go out and be like, hey, I own this, I'm ready to close the deals. It is an amazing feeling when you know you've got the confidence to do what you need to do in business. All right, that's it, my friends. Make sure that you subscribed, make sure that you like, that you comment, that you join the Facebook group, and go ahead and grab that ebook on helping you to build your sales confidence. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.